Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where every day we take a different topic that you might not associate with technology and take a look under the hood or take a peek behind the curtain. And today I want to talk about eyewear, or should I say glasses, because I recently discovered a company called DeepOptics, and they've had a hugely successful 32 North sunglasses Kickstarter campaign, over 1100% of their funding goal, which I think was something like $288,000 in just a few hours. But I wanted to learn more about the technology and how does the liquid crystal display work and the future of this field, from smart glasses, augmented reality, virtual reality headsets and much more. So today I've invited Yariv Hadad, CEO and co-founder of DeepOptics, who's an inventor and pioneer of the novel adaptive lens technology. But more than anything, I want to learn more about the first and only adaptive focus sunglasses, the story behind that Kickstarter campaign, and how they are so far ahead of other major players that are way behind on that technology. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Tel Aviv, where he's waiting to speak with us now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, Neil. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm Yariv Hadad, founder and CEO of DeepOptics. I live in Israel, married to Shelly, father of two sons, and I'm living and working in greater Tel Aviv area in Israel.
Very special place there. It's somewhere I was hoping to be in a couple of weeks that we were talking about before we started recording, but it wasn't to be. And obviously here in 2021, you are the CEO and co-founder of DeepOptics and the inventor and pioneer of a novel adaptive lens technology. But before we go there, can I ask that you share your origin story? Can you remember where your passion for technology came from and ultimately what put you on the path you're on today?
Yeah, I think I was always passionate about technology, even before technology was as advanced as it is today. I was 13 back in the early 80s. That hints to my age, I guess. And I got my first personal computer, Spectrum, Sinclair Spectrum. Got it from the UK, by the way. I have family in the UK, and they brought it into Israel. At the time, I couldn't buy it in Israel. And I did my first programming back then, studied from books I got, and I just loved it. I was amazed by the fact that this thing exists and I can express myself writing code. I wrote business code for my father's business. I wrote games, programmed games and programmed all sorts of things. And Went to school, studied computers, and then university. And I've been 25 in the R&D tech business since, formally, not as a kid programming at home. And I think in 2006 that the main change in my career was when I joined an Israeli startup developing mobile phone camera technology. That was my first exposure to optics, and that gave a different dimension to what I did until then. By that time, I have programmed in different companies for different technologies in the biotech, in the software and IT. But this was the first time I met with optics, and I kind of fell in love with it. And then with my two colleagues from Dblur, that was the company we met in 2006, and we moved on to found DeepOptics, where we develop technology for optics, but this time it's not cameras, it's our eyes. It's optics for human vision. And that's a whole different story, because you have an optical system that includes all the technology you develop, but then it also includes the eye, the human eye and the human brains, which are amazing optical elements, because they're so different between different people. And then you need to develop the technology to adapt to different people. And I think that's probably the one thing that we focus on all the time. Instead of having people adapt to their optics, having a new type of optics that adapts to different people.
Love that story. And then listening to it there, I was getting flashbacks of my own ZX Spectrum days of playing Football Manager, but I wasn't too productive with my time, but I do have very fond memories of that machine. And of course, fast forward to present day, and we're now looking at our phones on average. I think it's something like 58 times a day, which means this summer, 2.1 billion people will suffer from the deterioration of one's ability to focus on nearby objects. And I think that's something that I suffer with. I've put it down to age, but the fact that I'm staring at a screen all the time is not going to help. So what happens in the summer now, of course, is we end up switching between reading glasses and shades every 12 minutes. So can you tell me more about that, how that realization led to the inspiration of DeepOptics?
Yeah, I mean, I think of myself as probably looking 58 times an hour at my phone. But yeah, I mean, modern life is more challenging to our eyesight than in the past, because we're using phones, we're using computers, we have displays everywhere, and we have to switch our focus of eyesight to different distances throughout our day. That's fine when you're young, but when you get to my age, I'm 52, when you get to 45, 50 or so, our eyes are no longer able to focus to closer distances like they used to. There's some flexibility to our inner lens, which is getting worse and worse. And then eventually we're not able to focus at all when we're, 65 or 70. And so people still need to see for different distances. And when they have to switch between different distances, they need to use different glasses. So the current solutions are bifocals or progressives, multifocals. But then that's not the natural behavior. We used to, when we were younger, we used to just look at something and it got into focus. And that's what we expect to do when we get older and older. But that's not the case with the current solutions. The current solutions make us develop new kind of reflexes. We have to look through different areas of the lenses in order to look to different distances. And what we do at DeepOptics is we develop tunable lenses, adaptive lenses that can change their focus to the right distance. So if you're looking at a close object, the lenses would focus to the close object. And then if you look at a far distance, that would be adapting as well. And our first product is sunglasses that are switching to reading glasses. Because today, if you're wearing your sunglasses outside and then you want to read, you have to switch your glasses and put on your readers. And if you have to do that every 12 minutes, that's not a very convenient situation. I'm not talking even about driving or situations where it's even more demanding. And so our first product is glasses that you use as regular sunglasses. You go about your day, and then if you want to read, if you get a text message, if you want to check your watch, you just swipe with your finger on the temple of the glasses, and they switch to reading glasses. And then you have your app for these glasses, so you can set your personal prescription, you can set your personal preferences, multiple distances if you want to look sometimes at a mobile phone and sometimes at an intermediate distance, like a menu outside. So yeah, that was the inspiration for our first product, and yeah, we have a few more on our roadmap as well.
And if you asked me 10, 15 years ago that one day I'd be using the phrase, has anyone seen my readers? I would have laughed in their faces. But believe me, if there's anyone younger listening, it does happen to you over a period of time. And as you said, recently, DeepOptics have launched their new sunglasses, and which are, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the first and only adaptive focus sunglasses. And that's what put you on my radar after seeing your Kickstarter campaign and the fact that it reached your goal in just a couple of hours. But can you tell me more about these sunglasses and the technology behind them?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about these glasses to anyone who's willing to listen. The technology really is the most revolutionary thing about it. It uses liquid crystal. Liquid crystal is the substance or the material that is used for LCDs. LCDs are the screens, the displays. So the LC stands for liquid crystal, but then we take this liquid crystal, we don't use it for display, we use it for a lens. I would not go into too many details because that would be very boring, but just as a title, liquid crystal changes its refractive index if you apply voltage to it. So you can electrically control the optical behavior of this material. So you can imagine a lens that if you apply different voltages to it, or you could say you give it different commands, it behaves differently. So you can have a single element, which looks like a flat glass, and then with a mini computer in the temple of the lens, in the glasses, you can command it to act as different lenses. So it can be a plus lens or a minus lens. It can be a stronger prescription or a different prescription. And that is like the fundamental of the technology. The product itself, the sunglasses, is like I mentioned before. It looks and designed like conventional glasses. And that's a very important thing about it, because eventually people want to wear something that looks good. It tells their story. Like when you wear your glasses, you actually tell the world who you are, in a sense. It's like your clothes, it's like your overall look. And then you don't want to wear something that looks from outer space, unless a few people do. But then if we want to do a product for the masses, then we want the glasses to look and feel and behave like regular glasses. And that's exactly how we designed them to be. And that took a lot of efforts to really miniaturize all this technology that I just described into a regular looking sunglasses. And then these sunglasses, you just, whenever you want to read or whenever you want to look at a close object, you swipe it, and then you can swipe it again to go back to the far distance. We also have different modes. For example, if you want just a glance, just check your watch to see a notification you got, the glasses would automatically switch back to the far distance right after you checked your message. And in terms of the Kickstarter, yes, this was very exciting to see the reaction. It was quite overwhelming. We got more than 1,200 people ordering the glasses, and we're talking about glasses that are not ready yet. No one had seen them. No one was able to test them or experiment with them, but still people were very excited with the videos we uploaded, with the demonstrations we showed. And we're very excited, looking forward to delivering and seeing the reactions from people getting the glasses.
And one of the reasons I record this podcast every day is to highlight how technology has transformed areas that we don't automatically associate with tech. And I do think if you were to compare your average eye test with how your eyes were tested 20 years ago, it's easy to see, if you excuse the pun there, just how much tech has transformed the industry. But when it comes to glasses and contact lenses and things, not so much. So it seems that you guys are well ahead of the game here, because so many other major players are still way behind on the technologies. But I'm curious, for other founders listening, what do you think the secret is to a Kickstarter campaign? Because although on the surface, people may look and think you put a page up there, put a video on there, and then just sit back and watch the things come in. It's not that simple at all. I know there's a lot of work, weeks and months in advance before you even hit that launch button. But what would you say the secret is to a successful campaign?
I think the key thing about the successful campaign is a good product, something that people actually need, and there needs to be a fit to the audience. You want a good product to be appealing to the people that you approach, and that's a big challenge. Frankly, when we launched the page, the campaign page, a lot of people told us this is not the right thing to do, because most of Kickstarter backers are much younger than the audience requiring glasses for reading. And this is true, but still, there are a lot of people on Kickstarter, and actually people joined Kickstarter as well in order to support this project. So I think that the main thing is you design a product and you offer a product that actually solves a problem. And it's a good point. I think there are 2 points I can think about in regards to your question. The first would be that really for a few hundred years, glasses have not changed. Galileo Galilei pretty much designed the first lens, and that's pretty much the lens we're using today. Its production is a lot more advanced in terms of the production technology, the materials, but then the fundamental solution is a lens that has a fixed focal distance. But there's a whole bunch of conditions of vision needs that are dynamic in their nature. I described the fact that you need to look to different distances and your eye is adapting, and then when it's not adapting, you don't want to address this problem with a static solution. You want the same nature that you used to have in your eye, the same flexibility, the same adaptive nature for your solution. And I think this is what excites people so much about it, because people that have experienced the need to look at different distances with a single pair of glasses are aware of the problem. And when they see glasses that can actually adapt, the one thing that they keep asking is this really going to work? Is this really working? Because if it is, then we're really excited about it, and we really want to be part of it and to experience, be the first people experiencing this. So I think, to answer your question, we didn't know if this campaign was going to succeed or not. But what you want to do is you want, and this is quite challenging when you talk about glasses, because you want to describe the experience. You want to show videos or images of people seeing, and seeing is a very subjective experience. It's something that it's hard to communicate, but obviously we've been able to at least partially show how it would feel like and how it looks like. We've uploaded live demos, which are also important in the sense that they reassure the people that this is indeed working, because people kept asking, is this really working? It sounds like magic, but does this really work? And the fact that we were able to show videos of the lenses in action, I'm sure helped a lot.
And I think our eyes are something that we all possibly take for granted on many occasions. But the world of tech is engulfing that industry there, because we go from traditional glasses to smart glasses to AR and VR headsets, all that are combined with the use of our own eyes, of course. But can you share your insights on the influence of smart technology on daily gadgets and in the optical industry as well? So
yeah, I think, like I said before, I think I think people are not seeking for technology just because it's there as technology. I think they are really excited about something that technology enabled and then was able to solve them a real problem. I mean, we obviously prefer wireless headphones compared to tethered headphones, or we like our smartwatches. Some of us like it just because it's techie. I like techie stuff, but I'm not an example. But it needs to bring us value, and I think especially if you look at what's going on today with smart glasses. Smart glasses is a very general name for pretty much everything you wear on your face and has electricity, like electrically driven. So that could be, with headphones connected to it, or augmented reality, virtual reality. And I think, in a sense, what we're bringing here to the table is potentially the first killer app for smart glasses, because we're unlike all the other smart glasses that I just mentioned, we don't have to convince people to put this on their faces because they know why they want it. So now it's up to us to really build a good product and to do it well, and so it looks well and operates well. But the actual function is what's really desirable about it.
Well, apologies for the repeated use of puns here, but what trends are you seeing in the optical technology space right now? Is there anything that stands out or anything that excites you?
Yes, very much. I think there's a lot of efforts being made by the big tech companies, Microsoft, Magic Leap, Google, Facebook, Apple. They're all putting a lot of efforts into developing augmented reality glasses, and originally it was said that augmented reality is going to be the next computing platform. People said, okay, we had the desktops, then the laptops, then the phones, and the next computing platform is going to be our augmented reality glasses. We're going to have all the communication we're doing today with our phones. We're going to do it with augmented reality glasses. I don't know how soon that's going to be, but looking at the amounts of investments that are being made into this space, all of the companies I just mentioned and quite a few more are serious about making this happen. So this is one trend I'm seeing. And then the other trend is development of technologies for the lenses like the ones we're developing, lenses that change their opacity electronically and gradually. It's not just sunglasses are clear, it can be any level of opacity, either automatically or controlled by a mobile app or whatever. And what I like about this is that, for example, for AR, we have been collaborating with companies in this space, AR being augmented reality. These guys need lenses that can change their focal power as well. Because if you want to buy augmented reality glasses in the store, like off the shelf, it's not a custom-made product, of course. It's a consumer electronic product. This needs to match your prescription. If you're wearing glasses, you cannot wear both glasses and this augmented reality headset. So these need to be able to adapt to your vision capabilities. And that means that they need to have some sort of adaptivity, some sort of lenses that can adapt to everyone's eyesight. And the nice thing about it is that you see the trend on the lenses and glasses, vision correction technology on one hand, and then on the AR and VR on the other hand. But eventually we have one head, right? We need to wear one pair of glasses. We cannot constantly switch between our AR or our sunglasses or our glasses or our readers. So I see the technology being developed both for the displays of augmented reality and for the lenses in the vision correction industry. I see these eventually converge, maybe not in 3 years or 5 years, but I think in 10 years, everyone will be wearing glasses that are adapting to their vision and that are also providing them with information, with guidance, maps, notifications. I don't know if it scares people or excites them, but I think this is going there.
And I'm going to dare to throw in another pun here and ask, what is your biggest focus right now at DeepOptics?
You can imagine that this pun is being, told here, I think maybe every day or at least a few times a week. We try to focus. It's important for us to focus. We're a startup. We're a small company. We need to be very focused on what we do and especially what we don't do. So I think our core competence is the technology of the lens. And like I mentioned before, we envision a future where this technology is being integrated into all kinds of products. And so our biggest efforts are being invested into the advancement of the technology of the lenses. So first, there's going to be the 32 North, the sunglasses that we launched on Kickstarter a month ago. And this is to be delivered on April next year. And we're focusing on building these glasses and delivering them to see how our backers accept them, receive them. And then we develop our next generation lenses and glasses. So our next generation glasses will be automatically focusing. You will not need to swipe with your hand in order to switch between distances. We will integrate eye trackers into the glasses. Obviously, there's a challenge there to do it small enough so it doesn't affect the appearance of the glasses. But then these eye trackers would be able to automatically detect the distance that you're looking at and automatically adapt the lenses to that distance. So this is the biggest leap we intend to take with the technology of these glasses. And the focus again is on the tech, because applications, brands, different distributions. We think we can partner with different brands, with different makers of different systems, but then we want to bring the fundamental technology that can enable all these products.
And we started today's podcast talking about your origin story and what put you on the path you're on today. But this is a part of the podcast where I like to have a bit of fun with you and ask you what the soundtrack to that journey was. Is there a particular song that has repeatedly popped in your head or helps you get your head in the zone or just accompanied you throughout your career? What would your song be and why? And we'll add it to our Spotify playlist. And please tell me it's going to be I Can See Clearly Now.
You should have told me that before. I would have picked that one. We have, the technology we developed, and throughout my career, I think I've been involved in very challenging technology developments, and you face a lot of challenges. You face a lot of difficulties. So yeah, I thought I'd pick "Man on the Moon" by R&amp. It's from the movie Man on the Moon about Andy Kaufman, and I think what I like about this song specifically is that it expresses two things that I think are important to me. First is, if you believe they could put a man on the moon, then you can be encouraged that you can solve a lot of challenges and you can handle them. I've been watching lately For All Mankind, a TV series about the space project, the NASA space project, which is pretty amazing. So it is an amazing challenge, and if you can believe it, you can do it. So that would be one thing I like about this song. But then the other is that Andy Kaufman was constantly making fun of everything, and I think you should remember that you have to have a lot of sense of humor one of my co-founders says that what's nice about computers is that they don't have sense of humor. And so they're able to run an infinite loop. Okay, if you ask a person to run an infinite loop, they will be laughing at you, I don't know, about 1-2 minutes into this. But then that's what makes us, I think, different from computers. We have a sense of humor that makes us, that breaks such loops. Okay, if you get into a loop, if you get into too big a hole, you must have your sense of humor to take some perspective into it, to look at it from a perspective. So I think this is a good song to reflect both of these very important elements in our work. You need to believe, and you need to be. You need not to be too serious about it or about yourself.
That's a great choice. And I also love the story behind it. But I can't tell you how difficult it was for me. When you said, if you believe you can put a man on the moon, how difficult it was for me not to burst into song at that point. But I did rein myself in as best I could. But before I let you go, for anyone listening wants to find out more information about the sunglasses, the technology, or contact your team, what's the best way of doing that? And also, if you could point them in the direction of your Kickstarter campaign too.
So yeah, the Kickstarter campaign had ended 2 weeks ago, but we are putting together a website to have people pre-order. And that website would be 32northglasses.com. And DeepOptics is, if you Google DeepOptics, you'll be able to find both 32 North Glasses website, of course, Facebook and Instagram, and then DeepOptics company, where we have the contact forms, and all the information I described now is available on that website. And we're happy to hear from everyone that finds interest in this.
Well, I love the technology that you're using here and how you've created the 32 North sunglasses, which are the first and only adaptive focus sunglasses. And the fact that you reach your goal within a couple of hours on Kickstarter speaks volume. And it's not just about the tech, like you said, it's about solving a real problem. But more than anything, it's about your story behind the company as well. So thank you so much for taking the time and sharing that with me today.
Thank you very much, Neil. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you.
I'm going to be following the 32 North sunglasses very, very closely. And I just cannot thank today's guest enough for coming on and discussing topics like the influence of smart technology on daily gadgets, but most importantly of all, of course, the subject of optical technology. It's something that we don't hear about very often, and I hope you've learnt a few things today like I have. But I'd love to hear your opinions, your experiences and insights around optical technology. If you've got anything to say on the matter, if you've got any questions or you'd like to come on the podcast, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn at Neil C. Hughes, and my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. But that's it for another episode. But have no fear, I'll be back bright and early tomorrow, clogging up your podcast feed with another episode. So a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.